In our headlines on this Monday afternoon, July 29th, here in South Korea. Team Korea's female archers garner gold in the team competition at the Paris Games, which marks their 10th consecutive gold since the Seoul Summer Olympics in 1988, while their counterparts in shooting win gold and silver in the women's individual events. Meanwhile, over in the US, the latest public polls show Vice President Kamala Harris taking a tangible lead over former President Donald Trump with 100 days left to the presidential election on November 5th. And K-pop boys are dominating US music charts and making new history as Stray Kids and BTS member Jimin's latest albums take up the top 2 slots on the Billboard 200. Team Korea's female archers and shooters have been making headlines at the Summer Olympics in Paris. Our Kim Shi-young has the highlights.
The South Korean women's team once again claimed gold in the team event in what is the team's 10th consecutive gold medal in archery since the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The trio, Chun Hoon-young, Im Si-hyun and Nam Soo-hyun, defeated China in the women's archery team event on Sunday in Paris with a 5-4 set score after a tight game that ended in a shoot-off. The South Korean trio claimed victory after a dramatic scene where the target judge awarded 10s to the arrow shot by Chun and Im, which were initially scored as 9s after hitting the line between the bullseye. With the review awarding both South Korean players 10s, Team Korea won with a 29-27 in the shoot-off to capture its 10th consecutive Olympic gold medal. Republic of Korea leads all countries in Olympic archery with 44 medals overall, including 28 gold. Next, we have shooting, where South Korea has won both gold and silver in women's 10-meter air pistol shooting, as well as silver in 10-meter air rifle mixed team event on Sunday. South Korean shooters Oh Ye-jin and Kim Ye-ji won gold and silver in the 10-meter air pistol, both surpassing the previous Olympic record set by Vitalina Batsarashkina in Tokyo 2020. 19-year-old Oh Ye-jin scored 243.2 points, while Kim Ye-ji scored 241.3. The newly crowned Olympic champion said that she is very happy we scored first and second, adding that silver winner Kim is my roommate and thanks to her, I could feel less pressure for the match. In other shooting categories, Park Ha-jun and Kim Ji-hyun teamed up to claim the silver medal in the 10-meter air rifle mixed team event on Saturday, making it the first medal of Paris 2024 for South Korea. In fencing, South Korean Oh Sang-wook claimed the gold medal in men's individual saber fencing on Saturday, giving Team South Korea its first gold medal at the Paris Olympics. 27-year-old Oh defeated Tunisian Fares Fejani by 15 points to 11 at the Grand Palais in Paris. He became the first South Korean male to win Olympic gold in individual saber fencing after his former teammate Kim Jung-hwan won 2 bronze medals. The Paris 2024 Olympics official social media account, however, misspelled Oh's name on its Instagram's congratulatory post, writing Oh Sang-gu instead of his name Oh Sang-wook. After numerous comments, the account later corrected Oh's name. And finally, in men's swimming, Italy's Nicola Martinenghi on Sunday stormed to men's 100-meter breaststroke gold, leaving Britain's Adam Peaty and the USA's Nick Fink to share the silver. 24-year-old Martinenghi swam the race of his life to claim the title in 59.03 seconds at Paris La Défense Arena. Many speculated that the race may be a historic three-peat for Britain's 2-time Olympic champion Adam Peaty, who came in just 0.02 seconds later than the Italian at 59.05. In other swimming categories, South Korean Kim Woo-min claimed a bronze medal in the men's 400-meter freestyle swimming on Saturday, becoming just the second Korean swimmer to have reached an Olympic podium. Hwang Sun-woo, who is also this year's world champion in men's 200-meter freestyle, failed to proceed to the 200-meter finals. Kim Si-young, Arirang News.
Now, beyond the celebrations over the competitions, the Olympics has also been a chance to commemorate culture. That being said, my colleague Song Yoo-jin covers Team Korea's cultural campaign over in France.
Paris has been transformed into a stage for one of the world's largest sports spectacles, the Olympics. But there's more to Paris this summer than just the Olympics. Known as the global capital of fashion and culture, Paris boasts a rich history that spans centuries. Living up to its reputation, visitors to Paris during the Games will get a taste of diverse cultures, including Korea's.
Korean culture has gained immense popularity worldwide thanks to the Korean wave. We hope that Korean art and culture will flourish here in Paris, the city of art and the host of the Olympics.
The Culture Ministry has already kicked off its Korea Season project in France, launching a wide range of cultural programs in May. South Korea aims to showcase both its traditional and contemporary culture to the world from the very start of Paris 2024. A major highlight of any Olympics is the national team uniforms worn at the opening and closing ceremonies. This is Team Korea's Paris 2024 Olympic uniform. A light-weighted belt setup designed by the Korean brand Mushinsa Standard.
We heard that the weather in Paris is very hot, so we used a type of wool in our own cooling textile. We chose the color of Pyeongchang to highlight Korean traditional beauty. It represents the East and a dynamic, young energy. For the lining of the jacket, we used tomabekja, the blue and white porcelain patterns. The belt is a reinterpretation of a traditional belt called dakdae.
There are even more opportunities to experience Korean culture outside the Olympic venues. At the heart of Paris is Korea House, run by the Culture Ministry and the Korean Sports and Olympic Committee. This venue has been set up at the Olympic host city since Athens 2004, mostly hosting media events such as medalist press conferences. Due to COVID-19, the past two Olympics in Beijing and Tokyo did not have one. This time, Korea House is back, bigger and better.
Even in the digital age, first-hand experiences are key to enjoying and consuming culture. This Korea House is the largest ever, with spectators attending the Olympics fully in person again for the first time in 6 years, and the Games returning to Paris after a century. We're expecting big crowds. We anticipate a growing global interest in K-culture through Korea House, providing a great chance for those who are unfamiliar to learn more about it.
Until August 11th, there'll be a wide array of exhibitions, K-pop classes, dance performances, and K-food events. One of the highlights is an outdoor booth resembling a Korean street market, 시장.
France has its own market culture called marché, so we chose the 시장 theme to make the experience relatable to locals. At the same time, we wanted to introduce Korea's energetic, convenient, and affordable 시장 food culture to the world. That's why we're serving Korean street food like 주먹밥 rice balls and mandu dumplings.
From these authentic experiences to the Olympic uniforms and, of course, through the Games, Korea is set to make its presence better known in Paris. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News.
We are now counting down 100 days to the U.S. presidential election, and new polls show Vice President Kamala Harris taking a tangible lead over former President Donald Trump. Our An Sung-jin has the latest.
100 days left to the United States presidential election. The election race has already seen a series of unexpected variables, with the U.S. President Joe Biden dropping out for the Democrats and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump facing an assassination attempt. It's difficult to predict the winner for this race. According to a poll released on Monday, which was conducted over the weekend, 43% of those surveyed show favorability toward Vice President Kamala Harris, who is likely to become the Democratic presidential candidate. This is 8 percentage points more than the same poll showed a week earlier. On the other hand, for Trump, his ratings dropped to 36%, losing 4 percentage points. Harris has been pushing through her presidential campaign and has raised $200 million in just 1 week. 66% of those funds came from first-time donors as the Democratic Party continues to rally behind her campaign.
We have a fight ahead of us. We've got a fight ahead of us. And we are the underdogs in this race. And you may have noticed Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
Former President Trump has been sharpening his attacks. At a rally in Minnesota over the weekend, Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance targeted Harris's previous role as San Francisco District Attorney, saying that not only did she destroy San Francisco, but if she were in the Oval Office, she would kill the American dream.
Harris presidency means 4 more years of extremism, weakness, failure, chaos, and probably World War III. I really believe it. A Trump victory will bring back leadership, competence, common sense, and strength to the Oval Office. That's what we had. We had no war.
An expert says that though tweaks may be made, Trump will pursue a similar presidential campaign despite Biden dropping out from the race.
I think that what he will do is Biden's failure is also Kamala Harris's failure as well. So they kind of bind them together and criticize the Democratic Party leadership, whether it be Biden or Kamala Harris.
With no Democrat challengers for Kamala Harris, she could become the party's official nominee in a virtual vote as early as Thursday. An Song-jin, Arirang News.
In other news, Israel targeted Hezbollah militants in Lebanon this past weekend in retaliation of an assault on a football field in Golan Heights that killed a dozen Israeli youth. Our Ising-jae has details.
12 children and teens were killed when a rocket struck a football pitch in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Saturday. While no one has claimed responsibility for the deadly attack, Israel was quick to blame the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. The militant group said while it struck a military base in the region in retaliation for Israeli attacks in Lebanon, it was not behind the attack on the football pitch. Saturday's strike also marks the deadliest attack on an Israeli target since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October. However, Israel was swift to respond, launching airstrikes against a number of Lebanese targets on Sunday. The Israel Defense Forces claimed it conducted airstrike against 7 Hezbollah targets deep inside Lebanese territory. No casualties have been reported yet. The United States was quick to condemn Hezbollah for the deadly football pitch attack. This includes U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who is said to be closely monitoring the situation. However, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who supported Israel's rights to defend its people, also stressed that there shouldn't be an escalation of tensions.
We're in conversations with the government of Israel, and again, I emphasize its right to defend its citizens and our determination to make sure that they're able to do that. But we also don't want to see the conflict escalate. We don't want to see it spread. That has been one of our goals from day one, from October 7th on.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also condemned Saturday's attack in Golan Heights, while expressing his deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives and wished speedy recoveries to all those injured. However, the UN chief also stressed that all parties must exercise maximum restraint and avoid any further escalations. Golan Heights is a historically contentious region in southwestern Syria that also overlooks Lebanon and borders Jordan. The region was part of Syria in 1967 before Israel captured most of the area during the Six-Day War. It later fully captured and annexed it by 1981. However, the annexation by Israel has not been recognized internationally as Syria continues to demand its return. Ising-jae, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, defense ministers from Seoul, Washington and Tokyo set in stone a security framework that locks in, if you will, trilateral cooperation against regional risks to stability, including provocations by Pyongyang. Our correspondent Kim Jung-sil reports.
Defense Minister Shin Won-sik met with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara in Tokyo on Sunday and signed a memorandum that institutionalizes trilateral security cooperation amid growing threats posed by North Korea.
We have signed the South Korea-US-Japan Security Cooperation Framework. This marks the first time in history that security cooperation between the three countries has been institutionalized.
The Memorandum of Cooperation on the Trilateral Security Cooperation Framework aims to formalize high-level defense talks, information sharing, and trilateral exercises to contribute to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in the Indo-Pacific region. The multi-domain trilateral exercise Freedom Edge will likely take place more often. In the meeting, the three defense chiefs recalled their commitment to strengthening their cooperation to deter nuclear and missile threats posed by North Korea. They also expressed serious concerns about the regime's growing military cooperation with Russia.
In a situation where the rules-based international order is under threat, strengthening the security cooperation between South Korea, the US and Japan is not a choice but a necessity.
In a separate bilateral meeting with the U.S., both sides strongly urged North Korea to stop sending waste-carrying balloons toward the south and condemned military cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow. In a meeting with the Japanese defense minister, they agreed to establish an annual plan for defense exchanges and restart joint search and rescue exercises. The three defense chiefs agreed to hold the next meeting in South Korea next year. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
And Foreign Minister Cho Tae-ol has also denounced the rampant risks posed by Pyongyang amid its pursuit of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, as well as military collaboration with Moscow. Speaking in Laos this past weekend, within the broader framework of the ASEAN Regional Forum, Minister Cho called for a common message against North Korea's hostile weapons ambitions. The ASEAN Regional Forum is the only multilateral security gathering that includes the two Koreas. Now, this year, North Korea's ambassador to Laos, Lee Young-chul, was at the event. Since 2019, the regime has been sending an ambassador stationed in the host country of the forum to the event, or an ambassador to the ASEAN as its delegate instead of its foreign minister. At the National Assembly ruling, and opposition lawmakers continue to lock horns over broadcasting bills, with another filibuster at the parliament currently in progress. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
After a parliamentary vote brought an end to a ruling party-led filibuster, the National Assembly on Monday passed an opposition-led proposal calling for a revision to the Foundation for Broadcast Culture Act. The bill calls for an increase in the number of board members and an expansion of the government's authority to recommend members to media-related academic associations and viewer committees. It passed with 187 votes in favor amid a walkout by the ruling People Power Party. The vote followed a day-long debate initiated by the PPP on Sunday after the main opposition Democratic Party tabled the bill. Under the National Assembly Act, a filibuster in each bill can be halted after 24 hours if at least 3/5 of the parliament agree to do so. The DP has been pushing four contentious broadcasting bills aimed at reducing state influence over public broadcasters. Among them, two of the bills, a revision to the Act on the Establishment of the Korea Communications Commission and a revision to the Broadcasting Act, were passed by the opposition-controlled National Assembly on Friday and Sunday, respectively. The PPP opposes the bills, saying that they would increase the presence of progressive figures on the Public Broadcasters Board, while the DP argues that they are necessary to normalize broadcasting. Right after the vote on Monday, the DP tabled the last remaining revision bill, this time regarding the Korea Educational Broadcasting System Act, prompting the PPP to initiate another filibuster in protest. The final bill is also expected to pass the National Assembly on Tuesday. However, the PPP plans to advise President Yoon to exercise his veto power against the four bills. Three of the bills were passed last year by the opposition-controlled National Assembly, but were vetoed by the president. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
On the entertainment front, K-pop boys are dominating US music charts and making new history as Stray Kids and BTS member Jimin's latest albums take up the top 2 slots on the Billboard 200. Our Moon Hye-ryeon has more.
K-pop is breaking records on a US music chart, with boy group Stray Kids and BTS member Jimin's latest albums debuting atop the Billboard 200. Stray Kids' newest album, called 8, landed first place in the chart, which is the 5th time they've achieved such a feat. This makes them the first group ever to debut as #1 with their first 5 charting albums, following Ordinary, Maxident, Rockstar and 5 Star. As of Sunday, according to Billboard's data provider Luminate, 8 topped the charts with 232,000 equivalent album units earned in the US in the week ending July 25th. This is also the biggest number of album units recorded for a K-pop album in a week this year. Of this figure, 218,000 units are album sales, which is the largest sales week for any K-pop album so far in 2024 and second only to Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department. Earlier this month, the K-pop boy group also headlined one of the UK's biggest music festivals, the British Summertime Hyde Park Festival. The only other K-pop group to have surpassed more than 5 #1s on the Billboard 200 chart is K-pop sensation BTS, with one of its members also debuting at #2 on the charts. Jimin's second solo album, Muse, earned the equivalent of 96,000 album units. This makes it the first time that the top 2 albums on the Billboard 200 are K-pop albums. Jimin is currently still serving his mandatory Korean military service obligations, but BTS members have been committed to releasing solo projects throughout their service. The Billboard 200 ranks the most popular albums of the week in the United States based on multi-metric consumptions as measured in equivalent album units. Units are made up of album sales, track equivalent albums, and streaming equivalent albums. Moon Hye-ryeon, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. The intense summer heat that's been baking much of Korea gets stronger today. A heat wave warning is in place for most places, with Sokcho on the east coast seeing the warmest July morning on record today. It's the hottest time of the year in the country, with many taking their summer vacations. Meanwhile, the capital area gets some slight relief from the heat, with a chance of light rain through tomorrow under cloudy skies. However, the rest of the country should be under blazing sunshine with very strong UV rays. And even Busan gets up to 32 degrees, Jeju topping out at 34 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Drink plenty of water and take it easy today. Meanwhile, mountainous parts of Gangwon province are under a strong wind advisory, so be mindful of that if you're planning on outdoor activities in the area. Then we're expecting the last stage of monsoon rain in the northern parts of the country this week. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, so do stay with us. Thank you for now.